So you have to break down every wall that you have.
That's tough. I wouldn't want to know.
No, men just want to hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the nicest way to say it.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
Faith and Failures Podcast.
Okay, do you use technology? Now, you just, technological tools. What was those apps one more time?
just between us,
Just between us.
and intimately us.
Intimately us. And that's for
This is for marriage things.
marriage stuff?
There's and you can set it how frisky you want it to be. Okay, they're both.
Oh, so it's like a playful app
they're
type
both
deal?
Christian apps. They are. But one of them is like, do you do something for your spouse every day? You know, it gives you what you should do. The other one is a chat thing back and forth. It's an encrypted chat.
Okay.
So, it's things like that.
Okay. That's cool.
And then podcasts, honestly.
Now, you do some online counseling, right?
I do a lot of online counseling.
So you're not conflicted between online or in person.
I'd rather
stuff.
have on in person.
In person.
Because then you can see everything. But honestly, if I can get you to engage online,
Yeah. Whatever.
I'll do online.
Yeah. So
I can't tell you the other side of online. I have stopped seeing people because one person's engaged and the other one's just sort of laying back and not doing. It's like, you know what? We're not getting anywhere. We're done.
yeah, you gotta have both.
Gotta have both.
Gotta have both. So how do you address the tension between individual needs and the collective needs of the marriage? You said earlier you kind of do one and the other and then both.
If I have to, I will. But honestly, in a marriage, there is no individual need.
Yeah.
It's always a collective need by the end of it. Now, you may have individual things that you struggle with,
Yeah.
but you bring them to the marriage. So let's put them out on the table. Like I said, put it on a Post-it and put it in front of you and attack it together. I will pull them. Like I said, I will separate them every once in a while. I had one couple I couldn't get 3 minutes before it.
Really?
So it's like, all right, we need to separate this, and I want to teach you how to communicate. I'm going to teach her how to communicate separately, and then we're going to come back together. And we came back together, and I was like, okay, I think we're ready. And we made it a session and a half, and I went, no, this is too early. Let's go back. Things like that.
Yeah.
So
Just kind of a need to need basis.
it's as you need.
Just
it.
like your techniques, just kind of whatever fits the need.
So, but it's a hard concept to understand, is that everything you do affects your relationship.
Yeah. Intimately us and just between us. Oh, that's the apps, I think.
Yep.
Okay. Intimately us and just between us. So in what ways, well, you kind of addressed that. I was going to ask that, do you think individual therapy complements the marriage counseling? But I guess that's just a need to need, or kind of as it comes, if they
Believe
need it or
me,
not.
there was so much. If you got a lot of trauma in your life, you need to unpack it.
Yeah. So like if something was from someone's past trauma that didn't necessarily, it was affecting the marriage, but was not a marriage issue, you probably would separate them and work through that trauma first and then bring marriage into it.
So we'll take a rape victim.
Yeah.
That's going to affect the intimacy in a relationship. So you need to pull her apart, pull her aside, and work on that separately.
Yeah.
With me and PTSD, Lori knows a lot of my trauma, but she doesn't need to know the gory part of my trauma.
Right.
So that's what I worked on individually. And then you brought it together with, okay, how does this affect us together?
Gotcha. Yeah. So how do cultural beliefs and societal norms impact the success of marriage counseling? I think sometimes society has a lot more impact than it should.
It does.
On our lives.
You know what? Divorce is easier than marriage today.
Which is sad.
It is. I've actually heard people say, yeah, this will work, I think, for the first one if it doesn't work out. You're walking in already failing.
Yeah.
The other thing is the instant gratification. So I'm going to go to marriage counseling, but if it's not fixed in 3 sessions,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
This ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a commitment anyways.
No. We want something instant.
Yeah.
I mean, look at McDonald's. You sit at McDonald's longer than 5 minutes, you get upset. This is fast food. I want those
Yeah.
imitation chicken nuggets,
Whatever it is.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. Instead of committing to what we have and building up on it, and society saying, hey, you know what? You can work through this. If you, I'm going to throw this out here. If you had an affair in your relationship and you're still working through it, to get to on the other side of that creates such a bond and a relationship that is like, I'm not saying go have an affair, guys, okay? But
just to clarify.
It just brings you to the next level.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things you got to work through: trust, you got to work through intimacy, you got to work through all of that. And especially if it's a guy that had the affair, because women naturally want to know everything that happened.
Yeah.
So you have to break down every wall that you have.
That's tough. I wouldn't want to know.
No, men just want to hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I think that's the nicest way to say it.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
But culture, society says, you know what, this is normal. Don't worry, you did that, you're done.
So
Walk out.
do you think that's the biggest thing from culture that messes with people's heads in marriage?
Yeah, is that it's
Not a big
temporary.
deal. You can find somebody else, plenty of fish in the sea type attitude where there's no longevity, no long game.
No, well, let's wait for the next one to come along.
Yeah. My brother, I know he was joking, but he would always say, which they were all celebrities, so I know it was a joke, but just his mentality on it, which he's never been married. He said he had a list of the next 3 women he was going to divorce. Like, boy, you're stupid.
Yeah,
What's wrong? But that's almost real. Like,
it is.
people are like, but like being intimate with somebody, you can't. The Bible tells us to break away from our parents and become one with somebody. So when we do that out of the confines of marriage and we're just hooking up, or we're going into a marriage with like, whatever, if it doesn't work out, it's fine. You're leaving a piece of your heart, a piece of who you are with somebody that you really didn't invest in.
It's a soul tie.
Absolutely.
And that is something that the more I look at it, it's like, okay, I got to learn about this.
Yeah.
But that's not something I can log on to counseling today and find a class on.
Right.
So, and when you say that, and the Bible says to become one, if you look at the physical act,
Yeah.
you can't become any closer than the act.
Yeah.
You are one.
Yeah.
So when you do that outside of marriage, what does that do to you?
That's why we have so many people walking around not understanding why they feel so damaged and empty, because they've been emptying out something that should have been between just two people.
And you know what's worse than that? This just hit me because of some of the people I see. They call it a body count.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
What's your body count?
Doesn't that sound morbid to you?
In my first thing when I was in the military, body count was completely different.
Yeah.
Chris Kyle, American Sniper,
Yeah.
his body count was complete. Why would you call it a body count?
Complete disregard for what it actually is.
So then, when you're married,
Intimacy.
when you get married, is your spouse part of your body count?
I guess so.
Mine.
Right now, you know what? You ever heard of the red pill community? You know what that is?
No.
So I'm gonna do a live stream about it, but like it's a full on dudes teaching young men that don't have father figures in their life to rack up the highest body count that they can so that they can know what they want in a woman when they decide to get married. And these are people who are claiming conservative ethics. How in the world has that become normal? Or like you're teaching young men that it's admirable to make money, which the things they preach is, I say preach like they're pastors, but I mean, they're million subscribers on YouTube, to go to the gym, take care of your body, to make a lot of money so that you can be a high value man, so that you will attract the woman you want, and give most of your attention to your weekend women. And if they won't be your weekend woman, don't give them the attention. Like, what kind of? And it's called red pill community.
So now look at the flip side of that. Look at the trail they're leaving behind.
Yeah.
Who's going to work with all of those women? They're girls. They're not women yet. All those girls, to show them that they have value in life.
Yeah.
And that they deserve to be better than somebody's piece of meat.
And they're not thinking about, like, I'm about to have a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody called my little girl one of their body counts, they would end up in a body bag.
Yeah.
Because that's not how I roll. Which as far as I can control, my little girl will know that she is valuable and above that. But I mean, that's our culture, teaching these young girls that that's all they are is a body count.
Yep.
And that the young men to conquer it.
Some of the girls have a higher body count than some of the guys.
Yeah.
It's like, really, what is left?
And nothing. And then they try to get married, and they wonder why then it ends up in divorce, because there's no value on actual commitment anymore. It's all about what can I get. And commitment is not, like we started this whole thing out with, it's not about what I can get, it's what I can do for the other person. Yeah.
Faith and Failures Podcast.